This is the application for the Tapo C645D or battery-powered dual lens camera. You can see right here, it lists it on my favorites page, along with my other Tapo cameras. Right here, I have a quick toggle to turn the live view on and off, or privacy mode. Here you could see its location as well as its battery status. Currently, it is charging, which is why it's green and has a little lightning bolt. If I click into it, it's going to open it up and give it a second to load up. And here I could see my two views from it. You have your pan tilt and then your stationary view right here. Also at the top, we have the name of the camera, its connectivity status, battery percentage, and then we'll talk about that later. If I tap on my dual view, you could see I'm in the single view. If I tap on this, it'll allow me to do a multi-pane where I can select other Tapo cameras to have in my view. So there we go. I have my multi-view, and then I could double tap that one to change the view. Or in my case, I'm going to go back to the single view because we don't need to see those other cameras. Coming down to the right of our multi-camera view, we have our clarity. Right now I have it forced into 2K, but we can do 720 or auto, where it will switch between the two based on your connection. To the right of that, we have auto. What this does is, if I select this, is for the day-night mode. So right now it switches between day-night mode based on ambient light, but I can force it to stay in the day mode, or I could force it to stay in the night mode. What I want you to notice here is this is for the PTZ view. You also have to do this for the fixed view. So this is the one thing with this camera, you're gonna have to put options in multiple places because each of these video feeds is counted as a single camera feed. And I'll explain a little more about that later. To the right of our day-night switch, we have full screen view. Now, I do this just so you can see where the layout of everything is. So we can see it kind of pushes some of these options off to the side, and then minimize our PT or stationary. We could double tap to change between the two views. We're going to go back to our full screen view. While we're talking about this, I'm going to show you. It is zoom, but it is pinch to zoom. So if we do this, there you can see pinch to zoom on that one. And then on this, pinch to zoom. And double tapping either will bring that view back out. Under the settings, you can do what's known as a touch to move. So right there, I told it, go look in that direction for the PTZ camera. I'm going to do another one on the house up there because I want to show you the difference between the field of view or the zoom on our PTZ camera. So I'm going to zoom in on my neighbor's house there. You can see the bars on the air conditioner, and then I'm going to do it down here as well to its maximum so you get an idea of the actual, I'm going to pull that back out because I lost it. But I also like in a corner right there, it's actually showing you the digital zoom that you're doing. So right there, that's the 10.8. So that's the maximum it can do. So it shows you the difference because there's the 10.8 on that one too. So there's the difference in the zoom between the two cameras. Moving down, we have our photo. Selecting this will take a still image of whatever happens to be in frame. To the right of that, we have our record. Selecting this will record anything that's happening in the live feed of this camera. Nothing was happening, so nothing really got recorded, but that's the idea behind that. To the right of that, we have our camera microphone. I like to have this all the way up, especially when I'm testing, just to give it the best opportunity to collect audio. To the right of that, we have a telephone. This is going to be our two-way talk. If I tap on this, now people outside are hearing what I'm saying because this is a full duplex mode. And I can turn that off. We're going to tap it again to show you the other options, which is we have our microphone on and off, or our speaker on and off. Now that's going to be camera side, not on your side. Also on this page in the upper right-hand corner, we have our options. This is going to control our speaker volume and our microphone volume. But notice right from here, we can also access our pan tilt controls. Now this is important because maybe you're in a call, but you want to manually move your camera around a little bit to follow somebody. We also have in the upper right-hand corner for the pan tilt our settings for the degree of change, which is also why you saw mine moving very, very slowly because I lowered this one to 5 degrees of change instead of 10 so that I could lock it in over on the side there, which will make more sense when we talk about our pan tilt controls. So right down here, we have our favorite spots, and hypothetically for the pan tilt, I'm going to say that is a spot I want to keep. You can give it a name, you hit save, and that locks in. Now what it does is if I tap on my viewpoints, it will automatically shift to the location like you can see here. So it's a way to quick toggle between them. You did see me before. We'll bring it over here to be a little more noticeable. When I was over here, I can go down. It's much more noticeable since I have something to stare at, but it's also doing that 5 degrees of change, as I mentioned before. If we select the settings on this page, it will allow us to change that between the 5, 10, and 15 degrees of change. Now we have our patrol mode, which will allow it to, if I do pan up and down, it's going to patrol vertically one time based on you touching that. And there it's done. Also on the side, again, the settings for our pan tilt degree. We have pano. What this will do is it will, and I'll say just do a 180, create a path. What this is going to do is it's going to move the pan tilt camera and create a still image. And what it'll allow you to do, instead of setting up those quick toggle spots like you saw me do before, the pano will have a picture, and then you could just tap along the picture to lock in where you want. Now, what it's doing right now is it is calibrating itself in order to do the panoramic picture. So it's going to its furthest point right now, and the calibration should be just about set, and it's going to start doing the incremental movement. And just like in our other locations, tapping this will allow us to adjust the pan tilt 5, 10, or 15 degrees. To the right of that, we have our alarm. This is alarm on or off. This will actually set the alarm up to be triggered with movement. Sounds like this when it happens. To the right of that, we have privacy mode. Selecting privacy mode turns the cameras off completely so you can't view anything from the live feed and nothing will be recorded. Coming down, we have our single view. So if I want a single view, I can select that. If we want to swap it, we simply select that, and you could switch between the two views. Notice the pan tilt controls turn themselves on and off when you're in your PTZ mode, but you're getting this because of the dual view, so you might as well use it. To the right of that, we have our light, and turning that on will turn the LEDs on. Here, I'll insert a picture of this actually working at night, but do notice that there is a timer in the upper right-hand corner because this is a battery-powered camera and it needs to save on power, so it's not gonna let you leave those lights on all the time. To the right of that, we have our tag on and off. This is simply something to put a box around a person, pet, or vehicle to make it easier to track them as they move through frame. Next to that, we have Tapo Care, which is a subscription service that Tapo offers, but is completely voluntary because their cameras are 100% functional without having to pay a subscription. But if you did want to pay for Tapo Care, here's what you get. 30 days of unlimited cloud storage, rich text notification, which is the only thing that I would consider paying for because of the local storage you get with this camera. But the rich notification, instead of just getting a text message saying movement was seen, you get a little thumbnail along with that. You have video summary, weekly report, smart sort, baby growth. This is an outdoor camera, so maybe not. And as we come down to our playback and downloads, this is going to be where I start talking about things. And I want you to notice what happens to our images up there. They shrink down. That is something that I still don't know if I like, because when I come down to my playbacks and downloads, it's going to keep this. If I scroll down to see other things, it's going to make that really small and hard to see. But here we have all of our action items. So this is it saw a person. This was me testing it outside. You notice it groups the two cameras together. But if we want to download this, we select the dots and we select download, correct event type, or cancel. Correcting the event type means, hey, first pick your camera. So I'll say that one. And then it says it was a person. If it wasn't, you could change it or say it was a non-event and then apply, and that'll help the AI get smarter. If I wanted to download this, I would simply select download, and now it's going to my downloads. But notice, because of the way that this shrinks up here, it might be difficult to, well, here's a person. I want to see that. Now I have to drag this back down to see that person more clearly. Now, while I have that person on screen there, in the upper right-hand corner, we have our downloads area. You could see I've got a download currently happening. I could select that. If for whatever reason your download fails, simply select the re-download right there. And that little icon means that it is on your SD card and not from the cloud. We'll let that finish doing what it's doing. We can filter, so we can look for photos, videos, cloud videos, video summaries. So can kind of help find what you're looking for, especially if you've got a lot in here. And then if we select this, I can multiple select items to share, favorite, download, or delete right from here. If we come back to this page, to the right of that, we have our three dots. This will allow us to shrink it down to single view, which makes it so it doesn't collapse everything, but then you're limited to which view it is. So right here, I would have to switch between the two views. So that's a nice add-on, but I feel the execution could be a little better. We also have the ability to change the speed all the way down to 1/16 or up to 16 times. You can see the blue as it's following me, but we also have the ability to pause, mute, take a still, record, trim, which is if we have a long video clip, we can cut that down and then download it, which is helpful. And then you have your full screen mode there if you wanted to see it. We also have a timeline, which is what you see down here. And in this timeline, you'll see there's two different color lines, up and down. One is for the PTZ, one is for the stationary, but this will allow you to look for events through your timeline, scrubbing that way if you wanted to. We could change the date. Every blue dot indicates a day that has something that was recorded. We can shift between days by selecting left and right there, or we can filter and look for something. We could say PTZ, we want to look for pet and person and apply. And now it limits only things that have a pet or a person for our filter. We can select our cloud if we have anything in the cloud, but right here it's showing us the SD card because everything we have is on the SD card. And we're going to back that out because that was everything that we can do in our playbacks and downloads, which is also everything that we can do for the camera controls for the Tapo C645D. Now we're going to come up to the settings. At the top of our settings page, right here, we have our name of our device and the image we have with it, as well as device info. A lot of sensitive information, won't be showing you that, but that's where you can go to check your firmware. We have our detection. Selecting this will allow you to, one, set up unique detection zones, but also wake up sensitivity. Here we go. Wake up sensitivity is how sensitive you want either the fixed lens or the PTZ lens to be when it's detecting stuff. Detection range test will allow you to test and see if you need things to be more sensitive or less sensitive. But you got to do that for both the fixed and PTZ lens. We also have our auto track. So you can select never auto track, track all activity, which is motion, pets, and stuff. You can track specific activity, which is what I like. So here you could track pets or people and track vehicles. This is kind of on the side of the house, so I don't necessarily need it to do that because it'll catch that road up there. We have detection zones. Right now, I have it set for all, and then we have motion. Well, maybe I don't want motion. Person, pet, vehicles off. Okay, we're good there. If I select set for all, that's the default. But we could set for each. So right now, if I come into edit, and again, you're gonna have to do this for both the lenses. Motion, we're gonna change this to person. Notice the color changes to let you know what you're doing. So let's say for a pet, I only care about that. On my fixed lens, still on pet, maybe I care about over there. Person, well, I really only care about there. And on this lens, I will say it's the same area, so it's over there. And then I hit save. And then only those areas will be active zones for detection. Now we can add more zones, as you could see. There's a bunch. We could delete one at a time. We could clear all, and then we could go into landscape mode, which would make it a little easier to do because you're working on this itty bitty screen. So we're just gonna set for all and then let it do its thing. And just like you saw before, it's looking for persons and pets. I turned off the detection for motion, but I left on these two. So there's a great deal of customization for your detection types. So the right of that, we have alarm. You can turn that on and off. So that's going to be detection alarm. It's going to be when there is movement, not just setting it off. You have your alarm type. You can do sound and light, light or just your sound. You could do your sound type, default custom, and then you could high, medium, and low. So you have your different types here, which is siren, emergency, and red alert. Or you could select custom and add a custom sound. What this will allow you to do is tap to record a custom sound. You have 15 seconds to make something up so that you could tell it, hey, get off my lawn. I see you there. This camera's on all the time. I saw you dancing in front of it the other day. Go away. No soliciting. Please don't make me keep going. And it should be done. There we go. And then you could tap to play, which will play it outside. You can select to record again and save your sound if you wanted to. And then that would use the custom sound that you made. Now, you also have light type. Do you want white or do you want red and blue? So this will allow you to have different types of flashing at the person. Next, we have alarm duration. So you have default or custom, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30, or you do anywhere in between if you do the custom. Alarm event type, only triggers of a specific type will set it off. Maybe we don't want motion, we don't want pet, we only want person and vehicle because those are the only things that I don't want around or I want to scare off. I'll leave the pets alone for now. And then you have your alarm schedule, all day or during the day, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., during the night, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., or a custom range, which will allow you to set days and time. And that was all of our alarm. Coming down, we have our battery status. You can see right now it is charging and it is at 94%. If I select this, it's going to show. Here's my show battery status, show percentage, and working mode. I have it set for a custom, but you could select high performance balance or power saving. In the custom mode, it will allow you to adjust clip retrigger time, clip recording buffer, and clip length. Moving down, we have our solar charge data, which will give you data further down. You have auto privacy mode. This is useful if you're going to charge the camera in your house, but if you're going to charge it with the solar panel, don't turn this on, because as the solar panel charges it, it will automatically go into privacy mode and you won't catch anything. Coming down, we have our battery usage over the last 7 days. Here it is over the last 30 days. Battery usage, you could see, if I change this to 30 days, it'll give you a better idea of what I've been doing. Time of use, wake up types, event, and then filtered by AI. Solar energy output was the one that I turned on up there. I appreciate that Tapo gives us a bunch of information here because I enjoy data, and the fact that I have all that data at my fingertips is very useful. Moving down, we have our pan tilt. Selecting this, well, here we have patrol mode. Right now it's off. If I turn this on, it gives you a warning that it consumes power to do this, but we need to mark some positions. So I'm going to say add that and add a marker, save, add another marker, viewpoint 1, save. Now, if we turn patrol mode on, what this will do is it will move between these 2 points. Now, you could set up your schedule. So always during the day, during the night, or a custom, just like we could with some other areas, we can reorder these, but it's currently patrolling. So I can turn that off and then reorder them by selecting there and dragging one over the other like that. And what it will do is you could see it will stay in viewpoint 1, viewpoint 2 for an hour before moving back and forth between the two. So it's not a true active patrol mode, and you don't get a lot of customization that you got with the powered version of this. But again, it's to preserve battery, which I understand. Here we have our pan tilt angle. 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees. You've seen me show you this in a lot of other areas. And then we have our pan tilt correction, which will move the camera around to find its true center point. Coming down, we have smart dual tracking. I do like this feature in that if something is seen in the stationary camera, the pan tilt camera will snap over to it to follow it. And you can even select the types. So right now I have person and pet for this particular action. And then tracking range, you could select continuous or fixed tracking, which is once the target leaves the fixed view, the pan tilt stops. I like this one better because even if it leaves this view, the pan tilt will continue to follow it as long as it can. And then we have our pan tilt corrections once more. Coming down, smart tap to focus, on or off. You saw me do this when I was showing you the digital zoom portion. So if you tap in a location, you'll see this box, and then your PTZ camera will snap to it. And then you have pan tilt reset, on or off, which I would say do that after wake up so that it goes back to its center location. And then again, pan tilt correction. Another location for Tapo Care, don't necessarily need that. So we're moving on to storage and recording. Right now it is doing local recording. You could see here, this is my local storage. It's showing you how much has been used. It will loop recording. We've got SD card encryption, which is a new beta feature in a lot of Tapo cameras. But if you turn this on, you leave the password and the camera in order to get video off of the SD card. So if you're worried about somebody taking your SD card, this is a way that you can lock it down and then format your SD card. Under that, we have our clip setting. Here we have our retrigger time, record buffer, maximum clip length, and all of that is customizable depending on what you want. And we have our record schedule. So detection recording or don't detect, and then you can edit it as you would like. And then record sound. If you live in an area where you can't record sound, that's how you toggle that on and off. But if you can, I strongly recommend that you do. Coming down, we have video and display. Right now, I have night mode settings. And again, notice fixed lens and PTZ lens. You have to switch it for both. Right now, they're in both full color. But it's interesting, you could do one being infrared, and then you could do near far medium, and then the other being full color. So depending on how you have the cameras pointed, you can kind of customize the look and feel of it, which I really like. Under that, we have our video quality. You've got 2K, 720, which is data saving, but is still considered HD or auto switch between the two. Next, we have privacy zones. I will turn that on, and then we will select a camera. Now, you have an option of the PTZ or the fixed camera. Now, the problem with adding a zone on the PTZ, save. Now, I'll show you what I mean, is now we have a box. And that box will prevent you from seeing anything in that corner. That means in the live feed, in your recordings, you won't see anything. But remember, the view that I was looking at, that box was over somebody's house. If I come in here and I move it, notice the box stays in frame while the camera moves. So that's the only problem with doing a privacy zone on a PTZ camera. There are other manufacturers that prevent you from even turning on a privacy zone on your PTZ camera because of that. But if you're looking for a privacy zone for the stationary camera, works perfectly fine. Coming down, we have image settings. Well, we've got original, cool, warm, or soft. This will allow you to kind of change the color temperature, and you could kind of get an idea of what's going on. You also have the ability to change the image brightness. So right now it's at 50, but I could lower that because, wow, you know, that white car is really throwing off the balance. Or if it's at night and I kind of want to see something, I could turn that up. The problem is there's no auto to do this between the day and the night, so you have to manually do this, which means if you're constantly changing it, you might have to keep track of that. We've got our auto exposure on and off. All the video that I've been taking is with it off because I prefer the look of it, but if you want to see kind of the difference between the two, you could turn that on and off, and you could set it for person or pet to change the auto exposure. Detection tag, this is the blue box around somebody that I was saying, or we also have the label, which will tell you if that's a person or a pet that the blue box is following. On-screen display information, we've got display time, display text, and display logo. Text could be useful if you have multiple cameras and you want to have one in docking bay 3. Notice that you can set it up for the PTZ and the fixed camera. And then if we do time date stamp, that will slap it on both cameras. Under that, we have display tag on screen. This is going to be your connection speed or whether it's live or not. And I like that they give you a little preview. Coming back, we move on to our spotlight brightness. Right now I have it out of 5 of 5, but remember, we can change that for both. So if you need to adjust that for one or the other, you have that ability. They have a quick toggle right there, so you can actually test your view if you wanted to. Next, you have LED status light. On or off. It's just a little dot in the front of the camera letting you know that it's on. Network connection, that's how you can change your Wi-Fi settings. We have privacy mode, quick toggle right here, but there's also one on the main screen. Notifications, you could select on or off. So we have activity notification or rich notification. Rich notification, you do need your Tapo Care subscription for, which again is the only thing that I kind of wish that it had, but I understand why it doesn't. And then down here, we have activity type. So I want to be notified of person, pets, or vehicles, not motion. And then I have a schedule, always, or during the day, during the night, and a custom time, much like we had in other locations. Moving down, we have advanced settings. This will allow you to adjust the power line frequency between 60 and 50 hertz. This is generally for flickering with LED lights. If you've gotten lights from somewhere else or you're using the camera, not where you purchased it type of thing. You have voice call mode. So we've got standard mode or compatibility mode, which is it will downgrade a lot of the options to make sure that the connection goes through while you're talking. And the same thing with display settings. You have hardware acceleration or compatibility mode. Again, pushing everything as low as it will go so you actually can see what's going on. And then you've got your diagnostics on or off. You don't need that unless you run into a problem with your camera and need to send Tapo some information. Generally, you also want to turn that off after you send them that information. We have share device next, and notice right now I don't have anything, but if I select the share, they'll have to have their own Tapo account and an email that I can send this to. We have smart actions next, which is really good. I like Tapo's way of doing this. It's a very simple if this then that. So technically you could set it up to say, if either of the cameras sees something, turn on a light in your house. Or if this camera sees something, set your porch light to turn on. It's very simple. You hit the plus sign, you do an automation, and then, like I said, if this, then this happens. And you just select your different Tapo devices. I set this up for a Tapo smart switch to turn on smart lighting in my basement. Review over there in the corner. Under that, we have user guide. You've got your welcome and your mounting guide. You've got your support center. You have your firmware update, so another place that you can check your firmware or update your firmware. We've got reboot camera and remove camera. And that has been everything that we can do for the Tapo C645D in the Tapo app.